today we're going to be practicing making a mixed number, but this time we're going to be using subtraction. So I know in the other videos we were using pictures, and that's great. If you love pictures, phenomenal. I don't care what strategy you pick to get to the answer. I just care that you pick one, get good at it. That way when you use it, it always works. So this is another way that a lot of us like to do it. So this is how we're going to practice now. So go ahead and copy down these problems for me, and then we're going to go back and work through them. If you like copying them one at a time, that's absolutely fine too. Just pause the video as you need to. So with 13/3, I know right now that this is an improper fraction because the numerator is much larger than the denominator. Anytime my numerator is bigger than my denominator, I'm going to be improper. So I'm going to try to figure out how many groups of 3 I can take out of 13. So here's what you do. You write down your numerator first, and then you're going to start subtracting groups of 3. So 13 minus 3. There's one group. I know 13 minus 3 is going to give me 10. If you are not sure, you can make your tally marks over here and then start crossing them out. You can also count backwards. You can go 13, 12, 11, 10. That would get you there. This leftover part is still larger than my denominator. I want it to get smaller. So now I have 10 minus another group of 3. Well, if I do that, let's see what I have. If you're not sure, you have 10, and if you take away 3, you have 7 left. So 10 minus 3 is going to give you 7. I'm still not smaller than my denominator, so I have to keep going. 7 minus another group of 3. If you're not sure again, you'd have 7 minus a group of 3 would give you 4. This number still is not smaller than my denominator, so I got to take another group. 4 minus another group of 3 gives me 1. Now I am smaller than my denominator. So what I'm going to look for is how many whole groups of 3 did I take out? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 whole groups of 3. I have 1 piece left over, and my denominator isn't going to change. So I know that 13/3 is equal to 4 1/3. Let's give this one a shot together. So we have 9/4. If I look at this fraction right now, I can easily see that my numerator is larger than my denominator. So I'm going to start using my subtraction technique that I've learned. I write down my numerator, and I'm going to subtract the first group. Now I'm using 4 because that's what my denominator is. So I know 9 minus 4 is going to give me 5. My leftover pieces are still more than my denominator, so I got to keep going. 5 minus 4, there's that another group of 4, is going to give me 1. Now my leftover parts are smaller, or I have less of them, than my denominator. So I'm going to count how many whole groups of 4 did I take out. I have 1, 2. I have 2 whole groups, and I have 1 piece left over, and my denominator is not going to change. So I know that 9/4 is the same thing, or it's equal to, or it's equivalent to 2 1/4. Let's try this one together. So I'm going to look at it again, and I'm going to think in my brain, is this an improper fraction? Well, it is, because I can see that my numerator is larger than my denominator. So I'm going to write down my numerator, and I'm going to start subtracting. Here's my first group of 2. So 6 minus 2 equals 4. Well, my leftover parts are still not less than my denominator, so I got to keep going. 4 minus another group of 2 is going to leave me with 2. Well, these numbers are equal right now. They're even to each other. But I want it to be less than. So I can keep going. I can take another group from this. So here's my 2 leftover parts minus another group of 2. And it would leave me with 0. So when I'm looking at this, all I got to do is count how many whole groups of 2 do I have. I have 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 whole groups of 2. Now some of us like to take the 0 and put it over the 2. So you would do 3 and 0 halves. There's no reason to do that. You have 3 wholes, that's it. You don't have to write anything else. So try these next ones on your own. See if you are able to get the same answer as me. You can come back and check your answers after you've solved them. Okay, so hopefully you've gone through and tried them on your own. So let's give this a shot together. Let's see if your answers are going to match mine. So I'm going to start with my numerator. 7 minus a group of 5. 7 minus 5 is 2. And I can't go anymore because now my leftover parts are less than my denominator. So I have 1 whole group of 5 with 2 pieces left over, and my denominator isn't going to change. All right, let's take a look at this one. I'm going to lower you just a little bit so you can make sure that you see it all. So I'm going to start with my 21. I have 21 minus a group of 7. Well, if you're not sure what 21 minus 7 is, there's a lot of different things you can do. If you have counters, you can pull out 21 counters, take away 7 of them. You can make your little tally marks and cross them off. You can also count backwards. You have 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14. So I know 21 minus 7 is going to equal 14. Well, this number is still bigger than my denominator, so I can keep going. I'd have 14 minus another group of 7. Again, if you're not sure, check your work. So 14 would be 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. So I know 14 minus 7 is equal to 7. I can't stop just because these are equal to each other. I got to keep going. I want my leftover part smaller than my denominator. So 7 minus another group of 7 is going to give me 0. So now what I'm going to do is figure out how many whole groups of 7 that I have. I have 1, 2, 3 whole groups of 7. And I don't have anything left over, so I'm done with that one. Here's our very last one. My numerator is larger than my denominator, so I need to fix that. So here's my numerator is 11, and I'm going to start subtracting groups of 3. So 11 minus my first group of 3. If you are not sure what 11 minus 3 is, get out your counters, or you can count backwards. So you'd have 11, 10, 9, 8. 11 minus 3 is 8. 8 is still not smaller than this number. So I got to keep going. 8 minus another 3. Make sure you check your work. So 8 minus 3 would be 8, 7, 6, 5. 5 is still larger than 3. So I can take out another group. So I'd have 5 minus another group of 3. Well, I know if I started out with 5 and I take away 3, I would have 2 left. And this 2 is less than 3. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to count how many whole groups of 3 do I have. 1, 2, 3. I have 3 whole groups with 2 pieces left over, and my denominator isn't going to change. All right, my dears, that's it. You're all done with this one.